This is the Deseret News, Sunday edition, when your family needs to know more.
Good morning and welcome to the Deseret News Sunday edition. I'm Dave McCann. Violent religious persecution is real and happens frequently in various parts of the world. It's also one reason why thousands of individuals and families avoid changing faiths and seeking beliefs they feel connect with what's in their hearts. Tito Momin was a Muslim man who courageously converted to Christianity, even though through his decision, he's disowned by his family and sentenced to years in prison. He shares his experiences in a new book, My Name Used to Be Mohammed, co-written by Jeff Benedict. Tito and Jeff are with us this morning. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
This is a fascinating story, but let's begin with how the two of you actually made a connection. Jeff?
I got a phone call 3 summers ago from a woman who I'd met once and talked to for a total of 10 minutes. And she knew Tito very well. She lived in Africa, but she's from Connecticut, my home state. And she called me up and she said, I know a man in Ghana that you really need to meet. And can I persuade you to go down and interview him and see if you would be interested in writing his life story? And I was like, you want me to go to Africa? And bottom line is I went, and 3 weeks later, she met me down there. We met up with Tito, and he and I spent 7 days together in a compound. I interviewed him for 40 hours over that week. And by the end of the week, we had decided we were going to do this book together.
Tito, how is it you tell your story comfortably to an American journalist that you'd never met?
Well, it's something that I have dreamed of doing. I'm writing the book, you know. They wanted it to be, something that everybody can read, or the American audience can read. And luckily for me, he agrees to do it.
Jeff, you start this accounting of Tito's life as he's a very young boy and starting to be trained religiously by his father.
Right. When we started, I had no idea how it would be best for Tito to start out his memoir. Like, where do you begin? And as we worked through the story, it took a while to figure out the starting point. And then one day we talked about his birthday, when he turned 5. And I thought about my birthday when I turned 5, pin the tail on the donkey, cake and ice cream, kids running all over the place. And his birthday is so different than my birthday or any American birthday. And I thought this is where we need to begin, because it allows you to get in his house and in his life at a really early age, and you start to see the teaching mechanism and how drastically different it is for people in the West. And so that's why we decided to open with him literally getting out of bed on the morning of his birthday as a little boy and following his father to the mosque the first time for prayer, for morning prayer. And then from there we just, he's kind of started rolling through his life.
As you were exposed to Christianity, and it's written in this book that you went to a church and saw young children bearing testimony of Jesus Christ, and you were fascinated by that. How did that change the course of your life?
Yeah, okay. First of all, the perception I have, or I was allowed to believe, was that churches or Christianity as well is just infidelity,
Right.
Yeah. And on getting there, I didn't see that. I see something different, I see people who are very close to God. Their heart is very close to God. And I see even children whom I know them personally. They cannot express themselves, but they go to the pulpit and they were sharing their testimony of Jesus Christ.
So you're given a Bible,
yes,
and you're given a Book of Mormon,
yes,
and you read, and you're converted.
Yes.
How does Dad react to that?
Well, his dad, first of all, people, you don't realize that he's an adult at that point in the story. He's never, not only has he never read the Bible, he's never held a Bible, he's never looked at a Bible, because that was considered sinful. So this was a huge deal for them to hand him these books. Holding these books would be like us holding something really evil. And so it was a big deal for him to take them home and start reading these pages for the first time in his life. And his dad obviously saw this as like a treasonous act against his religion. His father was furious, and so were his brothers and his family members, that he was even reading this material.
You read it, you're converted, you join the church,
Yeah.
and your father holds a public funeral for you.
Yes.
What was that like for the person being eulogized and you're alive?
Well, I didn't know, all this because no communication completely for the 15 years that I was in the jail. So when I came back, first of all, I saw someone. I was like, "Am I seeing a ghost?" I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "Oh, we have prayed. We have done your funerals." I said, "What?" He said, "Yeah, they say you are dead." And I started hearing from other people I met, and everybody was confirming, yes.
Wouldn't that be strange, though, 20 years after the fact, you go back to your hometown and you run into people who tell you, there was a funeral for you 20 years ago. That's kind of...
And this is after you'd served 15 years in prison for your beliefs. Then you learned this.
Yes.
And then later you learn that your father is about to die, and you go back to see him. What happens?
Yeah, actually, that was the same day. When I go to see him, that's the same day I came to know. We talked for like 2 hours, and this is a man that I'm really scared of. I don't want to go back to Nigeria because of that and so on. And on getting there, I found him very sick, very fragile. This was a strong man, While we are talking, he said that he had prayed so many times to God, asking him to allow him to see me before he dies. And if that happened, it means what I believe is true. Then he said, now he believed that what I believe is true.
What do you want people to get out of this book?
What I want them to get in this book is people should know that freedom is very important. We are humans. We are born free, and we have to be free. Freedom of religion is very, very important for everybody, no matter what religion he is. That's why I like the church, because the teachings of free agency is very important to human life. Second, what I want people to know is to build their faith, no matter what faith background they come from. That once they believe, because nothing you can do, because that's what they believe, and they should stick to their belief and try to build it, or not to take it as a joke, because so many Latter-day Saints or other Muslims, you see, they're calling themselves Muslims, they were fighting somebody who is not Muslim, and then they were doing things that Islam says you should not do.
Right.
You understand? So I hope people will keep their faith by reading this.
The book, My Name Used to Be Muhammad, on sale now. Perfect for the holidays and a very good read. Tito and Jeff, thank you for being with us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
America's long history of protecting religions at the center of the gay marriage debate. Straight ahead, a closer look at the role of religious exemptions in that debate. This is the Deseret News Sunday edition.